A large number of Africa's population continues to struggle with food insecurity, persistent poverty, inequality, and environmental degradation. The International Food Policy Research Institute highlights rural revitalization as a prerequisite to address this. CNBC Africa's Stephen Muvunyi reports.
So that's why we call it revitalize rural areas. For delivering development outcomes, particularly sustainable development goals, number 1 on poverty, number 2 on hunger and malnutrition, and on health, on water, on environment, on climate change. All these have to come together and use rural areas as an integrated framework to tackle them. So without tackling the challenges in rural areas, without revitalizing rural areas, we have no way to achieve SDG goals. So what do? One is connectivity. Make sure that the rural areas have good connections to roads, to electricity, to internet. Number 2, women empowerment. 50% or even more of population in rural areas are women. So we must empower them. Make sure that the women can participate in many programs, projects, and make sure that they benefit from these programs. And finally, to empower the women to make decisions, to participate in political decision-making, and make sure that they have access to assets, to services. Then environment. To revitalize rural areas, revitalize the environment is a must. Otherwise, the people don't want to live over there. And then why we need development? If the water is polluted, land is degraded, air is polluted. So we must make sure that farmers have knowledge, have incentives to protect our environment. That will be good for not only their own rural community, but also for the whole world, because in many cases, environment is a global good. And the governance is a very important part of the revitalization. Key element of the governance is to empower the rural population, to make sure that they participate in political making process, to make sure that they can really be part of the priority setting, policy making, strategy development. So their voice is heard. So otherwise, if the top-down, vertical, it's not going to work. So, and use internet, again, use the internet cell phone to make sure that the local communities are accountable to what they said, accountable to what the communities are expecting them to do.
So, you commended countries like Rwanda, Ethiopia, Bangladesh, Malawi for having reduced the numbers, the rates of undernutrition, but there's the target to completely end undernutrition by 2025. So what's the possibility to reach that?
Well, this is an initiative IPRI has launched to work with many countries. So Ethiopia, Rwanda, Malawi, and Bangladesh are the first batch of the countries where we have worked to develop strategies, to develop capacities, to develop a high-level commitment, how that's a food, agriculture, rural development, and even overall economic development, health, nutrition, can contribute to ending hunger by 2025. So yes, these countries have achieved tremendous progress in cutting down child stunting, in cutting down hunger, in cutting down malnutrition, but more needs to be done. So that's why we call it acceleration. So last November, we had a global conference in Bangkok. So His Right Honorable Prime Minister from Rwanda also came, and he gave a powerful speech to make sure that the policies, the strategies, the investment here in Rwanda can be used to end hunger and malnutrition by 2025. So the challenges are there, but we are very confident. And from IPRI's perspective, we are very much committed to set up some joint program here, support program to support Rwandan government Rwanda stakeholders, including private sector, universities, research institutions, to provide data, knowledge, information, evidence to make right decision, to make right policy, to make right investment, so we can end hunger and malnutrition by 2025.
Finally, according to the report, rural revitalization, like you also mentioned, is a key factor to achieving SDGs, ending hunger. But you guided us into some recommendations to make sure this is done. Talk to us about the main challenges that the countries are facing to meet that.
Well, yes, many challenges, as I can say. One is economic development. Whether economic development is inclusive to provide a job, income for everybody, so we can end poverty permanently. On hunger malnutrition, again, how can we really reshape our food system, agriculture, to deliver nutrition and a health outcome to everybody? Again, more inclusive, everybody. Now, the climate change is a big issue. Climate change. Climate is changing, and our food production, our life will be very much affected. So we must develop certain strategies to build a resilience against the climate change. So here for Africa, I think adaptation is more important than mitigation. Mitigation must be top priorities for India, China, US, Europe, and so on. But here, to me, building a resilient food system to make sure that climate change will not affect our final goal to end hunger and malnutrition. And water, land, even biodiversity have to be protected. So I think the challenges are enormous, because many goals are not on track. We are not on track on many goals. So we must bring the data, bring the innovations, bring the political wills together to tackle this challenge, so we will be able to achieve SDG goals. And here I wanted to emphasize SDG goal number 2, to end hunger and malnutrition, is important, probably the most important to achieve. Otherwise, how can we achieve other goals when our stomach is empty, when we are hungry, when we are undernourished?